In this problem, we will be solving this using mesh analysis, and the question is saying that find the current passing through the 50 ohm resistance. Using the mesh analysis, we have to do this, and what is given, all the resistance values are in ohms, that means it is 10 ohm, 20 ohms, 30 ohms, 50 ohms, and we have to find what is the current flowing through this 50 ohm resistance. So now let us do the mesh analysis here. So for mesh analysis, first what we have to do, we have to draw the mesh current. So let's say this is I1, this is I2 second mesh current, and this is let's say I3. Okay. So in mesh 3 you can clearly see that 10, 20 and 30. So this 10, 20 and 30, they are in series. So what I can do, I can add them and I can make that one resistance. But let us not do that, separately we will be calculating, so that mesh analysis you can understand more. Okay. So we will be doing the solution now. So for mesh analysis, what we have to do, first we have to write the equation for each and every mesh. Okay. So how to do that, let us consider first mesh 1. So if I am considering mesh 1 here, so I will be starting with this 50 volt source. So it is 50 volts minus voltage drop across this 10 ohm resistance is how much. So this is 10 into I1. Okay. Then again minus voltage drop across 20. So this is 20 whole into current flowing through this I1 minus I2, because I1 is in this direction and I2 is in this direction. Okay. So this is my equation 1. If I simplify this, so you need to write in the equation format so that you can properly use that in calculator. So for that I will write first minus 30I plus 20I2 is equals to minus 50. So always write in this format so that it will be easy while calculating. So further, if I take 10 common here, so this will be 3I1 minus 3I1 plus 2I2 is equals to minus 5. This is my equation number 1. Okay. So now if I take mesh number 2, so mesh 2 if I take, so what will be the equation now? So here it will be first resistance, if I write minus 20 into, so this resistance I am considering, minus 20 into I2 minus I1. So why minus 20? Because we are taking that if current is going from positive to negative, then we are taking the voltage drop is negative voltage drop we are taking. Okay. So that's why I am taking minus 20. Now I2 minus I1, because I2 is the primary current for this consideration, and here I2 is in upward direction while I1 is in the opposite direction. So I have to take I2 minus I1. Then minus 30 into how much? 30 into I2, that is the loop 2 current, minus one more resistance, that is 50. So 50 into I2 minus I3, because 50 is shared by 2 loops, that is mesh 2 and mesh 3. Then one more resistance is there, minus 30 into I2, that is equals to 0. So now if I simplify this, so I will write I1 terms first, then I2, then I3. So if I make like that, that implies, so I1, so here 20 I1, only one I2, I1 is there, so it will be positive 20 I1, I2 here 20 I2, then 30, so 50 I2, plus then again 50, so 100 I2, and here 30, so 130. So 20 plus 30 plus 50 plus 30, so minus 100, 20 plus 30, 50, so plus 50 is 100, and this is 30, so 130. So 130 I2, then I3 is here, so I3 will be plus 50 I3, that is equals to 0. If I take 10 common here, it will be 2 I1 minus 13 I2 plus, so here it is 50, plus 5 I3 is equals to 0. So that is my equation number 2. Again we will consider the last equation. So let me write the last equation here. So that will be for mesh 3. Okay. So for mesh 3 if I write, so I can write minus 50 into I3 minus I2, okay, then minus 10 into I3 minus 20 I3 minus 30 I3 is equals to 0. So, if I simplify this, I will write I1 first, then I2, then I3. So, here there is no I1, so coefficient of I1 will be 0, and I2 here only one I2 is there, that is positive 50 into I2, and I3 value will be 50, 10, that is 60, then 80, then 30. So, 110. So, minus 110 I3 is equals to 0. If I take here 10 common, so this will be 5 I2 minus 11 I3 is equals to 0, and this is my equation number 3. So, how to solve that in calculator? So, we will go to calculator to the equation mode, and where 3 unknowns are there. So, I will select 3 unknowns are there. Okay. Now, I will put the values. So, for equation number 1, coefficient of I1 is minus 3. So, I will write minus 3, coefficient of I2 is 2, okay, and then coefficient of I3 is 0. So, 0, and the constant equals to D we need to write, that is minus 5. Okay. So, remember in always in calculator, so it is in the format of a n x. You can see above top of the calculator, a n x plus b n y plus c n z equals to d n. So, we have to write the equation in that format. Next, we will go to equation 2. What is the coefficient of I1? That is 2, then minus 13, sorry, 2, then minus 13, then plus 5 equals to 0. Okay. For I3 or the third equation here, so 0, I1 coefficient 0, then here it is 5 and minus 11, and D value is equals to 0. Okay. After this, I will get the values of I1, I2 and I3 as, so I1 is equals to 1.9, I2 is equals to 0.35, and your I3 is equals to 0.161. Okay. So, now in the question, so it is asking the current flowing through the 50 ohm resistance. So, if I take the current is flowing like this. Okay. So, what will be the value? So, if the current is like this, so I2 is in this direction. So, here total current I through 50 ohm resistance is equals to I2 minus I3. So, that is equals to I2 is 0.35 and your I3 is minus 0.161. So, that will be equals to 0.35 minus 0.161. So, that value is equals to 0.189 amperes. Okay. So, this is your answer, and this current is flowing in the this resistance 50 ohm resistance. What is that value? 0.189. So, here 0.189, this much of ampere of current is flowing in the 50 ohm resistance. Now, this is how you can solve a mesh analysis. So, this is a easy one. So, what you have to do, take 3 mesh, take all as your clockwise direction, and then do the mesh analysis for individual meshes. While doing the analysis, voltage drop across a resistance is taken as negative, where this side will be positive, this side will be negative, and the voltage given here. So, positive is here and negative here, which is opposite to this one. You can see this is plus minus, current is entering here, but in this case current is entering at the negative side. So, that is why it will be taken as plus 50, that I have considered here. Okay, I think this is clear. So, if you have any doubt, you can post in the comments, or you can message me so that I can answer this. So, this is how you can do the mesh analysis, and then we will be moving to another problem in the next video.